Hey guys, sometimes you have to learn to be patient, whether it's in life or whether it's with a WWE storyline.
No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just gonna keep you right where you're at right now.
It doesn't matter what you think.
The Wrestling Realm presents Break It Down with Bryan H.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode of Break It Down with Bryan H. That is my one and not one and only, but my one and only producer cousin on the beat, Hypno Beats. Make sure you follow him on Instagram at hypno_beats or just search hypnosis. Now, I have an action-packed show for you today, and guess what? I'm going right into the top rope because if you've been following me on social media or you listened to last week's show, you should already know what it is.
Going up to the top rope.
It's time for this week's Top Rope segment of the week.
And this week's top rope, finally, yes, finally, you saw it if you saw the title of the show, finally, Bayley snaps on Sasha Banks. It was every bit of incredible. I told you guys, just be patient. Just wait. Y'all wanted to see Sasha and Bayley fight each other. You wanted to see them start hitting each other backstage. No, this was done the perfect way. We've all been in that situation, or we know somebody's been in that situation, or perhaps you may have been somebody who did the bullying and you was in Sasha's situation. But we've all been in that situation where you are nice to somebody and they take advantage of you and they continue to take advantage of you. And what do? Eventually, you snap. And that's what Bayley did on Monday Night Raw. She told Sasha straight up, I had enough. This isn't just for this week or this past week. This is for the past few years. And I know, if you watched the feud in NXT, the two hated each other, kayfabe, but they came up, they were best friends. But every time Sasha had an opportunity, she turned her nose at Bayley. Every time Sasha had an opportunity, she made it be clear, no, Bayley, you want to have you wanted to say, let the best woman win. No, I'm better. And it's just, we saw this building, and I said this last week. Guys, wouldn't you rather the storyline be able to take us into the summer as things get heated up and we get ready for SummerSlam, because we're on the road to SummerSlam? Wouldn't you rather this feud take us there rather than we have this feud kind of get lost in the shuffle at WrestleMania? Because let's be real, everybody would have talked about Charlotte and Asuka, or everybody would have talked about Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax. Nobody would have talked about Sasha and Bayley. Not to mention, you had to mention the women's WrestleMania Battle Royal. So that would have got lost in the feud. Instead, we saw seeds planted slowly but surely. They don't need to have the title for this feud. This can rival Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa if done right. So that's my top rope. But just like that, guys, I gotta go right into the tapped out. Let's hit the cue.
Here's our Tapped Out segment of the week.
And this week's tapped out is without a doubt the fact that Bayley has to go to counseling. Kurt Angle, what are you thinking? You're sending Bayley to counseling. Why? What is the point? I don't get it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. She's going to go to counseling and all this. It's just not going to make any sense. It's going to be completely stupid. And I hate to be that guy. I do. But nonetheless, that's my tapped out for this week. But let's move on, because speaking of counseling, we saw a team that was created through counseling. That is the Team Hell No return. Daniel Bryan, as you know, last week he had his WWE Championship opportunity ripped away from him thanks to the Bludgeon Brothers, and then this week, he challenged them while he was on Miz TV, said, I want one of you. And I like the fact that they were on Miz TV. We're still getting a little bit of the Daniel Bryan Miz, because, of course, Daniel Bryan had to take a shot at him. But nonetheless, let's get to the task at hand. Daniel Bryan sat up there. He challenged, which one of them. He would get Luke Harper. those two during the match, of course, Rowan got involved. And when the beatdown was happening, here comes Kane. Who saw this coming? I didn't see Kane coming. Did you see Kane coming? But nonetheless, Kane comes out there, and when he's out there, he helps Daniel Bryan, and the two just, Daniel Bryan looks shocked, but of course, they was taking care of business, and at the end, they did what we love to do. And if you're standing next to somebody, if you're listening to somebody, go ahead and give them a hug as they hugged it out. And I just thought that was great. And then Paige said she wasn't going to let this moment pass her by, and she didn't, folks. Dave's Team Hell No will take on the Bludgeon Brothers for the WWE SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships at WWE Extreme Rules. Now, personally, I'm wondering this, and I'm going to ask you the question, and let me know, what do you think? Is this feud something to just kind of get us over the hump before we see Daniel Bryan in the main event spot? And we would say, why I ask that? Because let's not forget, according to rumor and innuendo, shout out to Conrad Thompson, according to rumor and innuendo, this feud was actually supposed to be Big Cass who was going to be the one to attack Daniel Bryan and cost him, and therefore continue their feud. But Big Cass was fired. Can't put your hands on a woman, can't get drunk, all the other stuff he did. So it makes me wonder, is this something just to hold us over? Because personally, I don't want to see a long-term feud between the two. I really don't. But only time will tell. Now let's move on, because apparently we have a WWE Universal Champion who doesn't want to defend his belt. Now this reminds me of something. In SmackDown vs. Raw 2010, me and my twin cousins, shout out to Christopher and Christian, we used to play this game, our Friday nights and some Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, we spend time playing SmackDown vs. Raw. Now, these two aren't wrestling fans like I am, but we created our characters, and with our created characters, we each would, wrestle, and person win the match. So my cousin Christian, every time he was the champion, he would not put his belt on the line. He would make me and Christopher square off against each other, and then sometimes, he'd go, nope, my belt. And then, he'd kind of do crazy stuff. And it'd be fun if the two actually still watch wrestling. I wish they did. But nonetheless, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, so why doesn't Lesnar? Because it's not a big enough draw. You're the champion. You're supposed to do what you want. And this is where I know a lot of people are not going to agree with what I have to say right here. But this is where WWE booked themselves into a corner. You say, how? Because now, yes, we know Brock Lesnar is money, and we know that the original, everybody was predicting Roman Reigns was going to dethrone him at WrestleMania 34. Nonetheless, it should have happened. No, the match shouldn't have been booked that way, but just put the belt on Roman just to get it off Brock. And that was the guy who was going to get the crowning moment. We wasn't expecting Roman to have a long title run, and maybe if he did, so what? But the belt, when you think about it, the WWE Universal Championship has been way longer than it's been present. The championship debuted 2 years ago. Actually, 2 years ago in 2016. That was when, the brand split. Finn Balor won it. Then he had to vacate it. Kevin Owens won the belt later on that September. Held the title until February. What's that? September, October, November. October, November, December, January, February. 5 months, right? Then Goldberg had it from February, March, April. 2 months. And then Brock Lesnar's had it since. That belt, that title belt, has been on a part-timer long that it's been on a full-time wrestler. I have an issue with that. And I know people say, I'm old school, the belt. But in this case, it's getting too old. Because while Hogan wasn't defending the title every week on Superstars, we got promos. And I understand that the pay-per-views at the time wasn't every month. Now we're in a microwave society. We have pay-per-views every month. And this is why the title needs to be on TV every week, or at least more than once every blue moon. last year I was okay with it. Why? Because I got a match almost every other month, at least it felt like it. Maybe we got a couple back-to-backs where we had Brock Lesnar against Braun Strowman. We had Brock Lesnar, Samoa Joe. And I know I'm not in order. Brock Lesnar against Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, and Samoa Joe. I think that was a SummerSlam match. But we got these matches, and now it's just like, where's Brock? And now he does, there's a stipulation in the contract. Again, booking themselves into a corner because the multi-man match was canceled, and I have a hard time believing that was the case. And quite frankly, I would not be upset if Brock Lesnar just vacated the title and took his ball and went home. I wouldn't be. It wouldn't bother me one bit. So that's my take on the WWE Universal Championship. But let's talk about the one that matters, the big belt, the WWE Championship. This week, Rusev was victorious over Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods got a picture with Topanga. Lucky. Daniel Official, her real shoot name. But we saw Rusev get this win. Huge win. Great momentum builder. Shows him that because let's not forget, Xavier Woods is no slouch. This guy was in Money in the Bank. Well, no, he wasn't. But this guy was a possible contender. He was in a possible contender for the Money in the Bank, I should say. So he's no slouch. So therefore, Rusev getting a win is just going to show you, he's going to be primed and ready for a WWE Championship match. And I'm not sure if he wins this one, but, I'll be excited for the match. So I'm going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Yo, this is 2 Chainz of the Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast, and you are now listening to Break It Down with Bryan H. Waters, brought to you by The Wrestling Ground.
And I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. So, this week, we saw James Ellsworth come out there and make a challenge to Asuka. And Ellsworth is kind of pointing himself as this handsome guy. Believe it or not, like, say what you want, that dude is funny. I have to admit, he comes out there and he's, trying to, first of all, he's backstage and trying to talk to Todd Dillinger, trying to say he's a 10. Todd Dillinger just says he's a 1, which I still don't know what Dillinger's doing. But nonetheless, Paige tells Ellsworth, guess what? Asuka's getting her rematch. She's going to get a match with Carmella. And, so then Ellsworth says, well, Paige, I know you want to go on a date with me. So, yeah, she said, yeah, you get a date next Tuesday, but it's not with me. You're getting a match with Asuka. So I'm looking forward to seeing Asuka break Mr. Ellsworth in half. So, speaking of SmackDown, they made an announcement that SmackDown Live, I guess, maybe we won't call it SmackDown Live. Well, guess what? It's called SmackDown Live, so we'll call it SmackDown Live. It will start October 4th, 2019 on Fox, so I can't wait for that. Let's talk about your Intercontinental Champion. Dolph Ziggler defended his title. Seth Rollins getting his rematch clause invoked, and what a match those two had. But in the end, it was Drew McIntyre breaking it up, making sure that Dolph Ziggler did not leave without the WWE Intercontinental Championship. I'm very interested in this feud. I would not mind seeing this go all the way to SummerSlam. I just know these two, as you saw last night, they put on a great match. They can tell a good story. Dolph Ziggler as a heel, him and Drew McIntyre, I think they can get some of the best face mic work out of Seth Rollins. We know Seth Rollins can be very compelling heel. Let's see what kind of compelling face he can be. And I think he has the right opponent to do so. So, the U.S. title. So, Jeff Hardy was scheduled to have a U.S. title match with Shinsuke Nakamura, but apparently there was a dog that bit Nakamura, and therefore they couldn't have the match. Dog bit him at the arena or something like that. A police dog, I believe it was. So we got Jeff Hardy versus Eric Young. Now, I know there's some Impact Wrestling fans, TNA Wrestling fans out there who who can vouch whether or not this match actually happened at Impact Wrestling. I didn't see it if it did, but it was entertaining. Of course, Sanity came out. Well, Sanity and the Usos, because the Usos kind of wanted to even things out, led to a no contest, which we got a tag team, a 6-man tag match, because that's what we do in today's society of professional wrestling. So I'm interested. I want to see Sanity take on the Usos. I want to see a program with that. But I also would like to see Eric Young and Jeff Hardy. I want to see how far Eric Young can go. This is a guy who I always looked at. He was just a comedian, I never really took him seriously. Even when he became the Impact Wrestling champion, it might have still been TNA World Heavyweight Champion. I just didn't take him seriously. But now that he's in the WWE and under the WWE umbrella, I can. So that's what I want to see with that one. So I'm going to take another break before we get into 205 Live. So I'm going to take a quick break.
Yo, this is Malik Smith with the No Rules Podcast, and you're listening to Break It Down with Bryan H., brought to you by the Wrestling Round.
All right, and I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. So, 205 Live, did you watch it? So, we saw Cedric Alexander go to Drake Maverick and tell him he wants Hideo Itami, and Drake says he doesn't want to award bad behavior. But one thing I like, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, all right, Cedric, he has matches, but where's the program going? I don't want to feel like his title reign is lackluster, but what is he doing? Obviously, we know he can put on good matches, but what about some of the character stuff? But him challenging Hideo Itami, I thought that was great. I do think Itami will be the guy to dethrone him. It would make sense. It would help me, as far as me saying, I said this time and time again, can Hideo Itami get going again? This is the perfect time. So I think Cedric wins, but I like the fact that he challenged Hideo, and he said he wants to establish his legacy and a win over a legend like Hideo Itami, because we all know that the legend of Kenta, but he said a win over a legend like him can put him to new heights. Also, Leo Rush finally make his debut. I like this Leo Rush. He comes out there smiling, kind of shows you, I don't want to say MVP type feel, but kind of show you he's worth a lot of money, so the Rush Hour is going to be interesting. I want to see where they go from here. One of the things I like what Leo Rush was able to do is stay heel, but still do his high-flying moves. I know this isn't the 90s where if you do the high-flying moves, it's hard to stay heel, but Leo Rush, is very entertaining, very, whenever you watch him, you're going to see something cool and something that's going to whoa. So I thought this was great. So, that's what I'm looking forward to seeing. So, you know what? It's time for Wrestling for the Culture.
It's time for Wrestling for the Culture, where we take a look inside to see what the wrestlers of color have been doing this week.
All right, this week's Wrestling for the Culture, we saw Bianca Belair and Montez Ford get married. Congratulations to them. The two joined in holy matrimony this past weekend. They're two NXT stars. I'm always, shout out. I'm always a proponent of black love, or love in general. Love wins. Velveteen Dream silencing Hulk Hogan. Hogan goes on to, Twitter when he saw what the Dream was wearing, the red and yellow, and he says, we can have Dreamomania or something like that, and Velveteen Dream says, nope, he's not interested. So just thought that was interesting. Shane Strickland, have you been watching him? Shane Strickland has been tearing it up, folks. Make sure you pay attention. He's ESPN did a feature article on him, and that just goes to show you how many eyeballs he's opening. Wrestled this past week, and they had a $20,000 bounty on his head at MLW, but it was low key who I guess cashed in. So I can't wait to see how this plays out. If you haven't watched MLW, I'm telling you, now is the time. They're putting on some good wrestling there, and if you're a Tony Schiavone mark like me, you'll really enjoy it. To me, it's just like, wow, Schiavone is back in wrestling, But let's move on. Mia Yim wins the TCW Women's Championship. Amaya Jade wins the Elevate Pro Women's Championship, and Koto Brazil earns his first victory in MLW. So, ladies and gentlemen, not too long of a show this week. Like I said, I appreciate each and every week that you listen. And guess what? We got a special announcement. If you're not listening on this platform, then you may not know, but we are available on Spotify now. So how about that? Spotify takes forever to, accept the shows, but they accepted the wrestling realm and they accepted Break It Down with Bryan H. So make sure you follow us on Twitter, like the Facebook fan page, go on Instagram, make sure you follow us. We've got some great things coming, including BlurCon, which we will be with the one, only great Dr. D, and a host of other wrestling intelligence. Make sure you are subscribed to the podcast on Podbean, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. And we're pretty much everywhere you can get your podcast. Pretty much, we're there. Ladies and gentlemen, be sure this week to tune in to the Flex Zones. In Between the Zone, where you'll see the real Dwayne Allen and myself together sitting down with my brother Andre of the Flex Zone just to talk some good old wrestling. So until the next time, folks, I'm Bryan H. Waters. So long, everybody.